It's World War III Watch. Let's just face it, it's already started. I'm here with co-host Jay Scott, and we were given this story. It was brought to our attention earlier today, kind of unsettling, from the Secretary of War himself. We know what Pete Hegseth has been up to in Venezuela. We know all that foreign policy, war machine policy. Guess what, guys? What they do over there, foreign policy, is our domestic policy. Check this out. Pete Hegseth, this is from The Independent, to set up National Guard quick reaction forces to quell unrest across all 50 states. The U.S. military has issued an order to the National Guard in all 50 states and 4 territories to form rapid response units that can be sent out on demand to contain civil unrest, armed with batons, body shields, tasers, and pepper spray. An internal memo published by The Guardian dated October 8th and signed by Major General Ronald Burkett, Director of Operations for the Pentagon's National Guard Bureau, orders the training of around 500 troops per state for a total of 23,500. The memo states that Pete Hegseth's Department of War will deploy military trainers to every state and territory to get the program operational by January 1st of 2026. Each location will also be provided with 100 sets of crowd control equipment to be used to support this requirement, and says their troops will be trained in how to form squad-sized riot control formation, how to use a riot baton and shield, and how to supervise a riot crowd control operation, as well as de-escalation techniques. They will be expected to report their progress to the Pentagon monthly. The instructions make good on an executive order issued by Trump in August, which he called on Hegseth to ensure each state's Army National Guard and Air National Guard are resourced, trained, organized, and available to assist federal, state, and local law enforcement in quelling civil disturbances and ensuring the public safety and order whenever the circumstances necessitate. Trump's order also specifically commanded the secretary to ensure the availability of a standing National Guard quick reaction force that shall be resource trained and available for rapid nationwide deployment. Here we go, Jay. This is like we said. I mean, the foreign policy that we've seen, this war first, kill first, ask questions later. It seems to be coming full blown on our own soil, not just ICE raids in L.A., Chicago, Portland, D.C. We're talking all 50 states here. Why are not more people aware of this, and how bad is this?
Media overload, I would say. There's so many things happening every single day that people have to keep up with. It's easy for major stuff like this to fly under the radar, but what people don't realize is they actually moved the timeline up, because I saw an article maybe around 2-3 weeks ago, and the first state that they originally were talking about was April of next year. And now they've moved the order up to January of next year. So that tells me they expect people to be very upset about something. Now, take your pick on what that could be. Maybe it's a new virus that comes out. They try to implement some lockdowns and people don't like the lockdowns. Maybe people don't want to go to war with Venezuela. Maybe people don't want to go to war in Nigeria. Now, I don't know if you've seen the headlines on this, Matt, but Ted Cruz, Glenn Beck, and a few of these other conservative folks are talking about we got to save the Christians in Nigeria too. So, of course, and of course, there's still Israel. A lot of people think, Israel may be getting ready to restart the war with Iran, and who knows what happens in Ukraine. So take your pick on the reason that people could want to get into the streets. There's a ton of reasons why people might want to do that, but what I want people to do is really take a step back and look at the rhetoric that's been used over the past couple months, right? Because you've seen it too, Matt. Trump and his administration have come out to describe protesters in Portland as the Antifa protesters, they say, as akin to Hamas and Hezbollah. How do they treat Hamas and Hezbollah? They kill them indiscriminately
That's right.
along with people who are in their vicinity. So if they're already describing the protesters as akin to Hamas and Hezbollah, but right now they're saying, oh no, it's just non-lethal stuff we'll be giving them, like batons and pepper sprays. Well, maybe it starts out like that. But if they get tired of it, is it is it unheard of that they may consider using some of those same techniques? I mean, they've already, classified Tren de Aragua, I believe, as terrorists. They could just say, hey, there's some Latinos over there. They got some tattoos. That looks like Tren de Aragua. They're terrorists. Now we can use lethal force. So I just want everyone to consider where this goes. And then also remember that there is a way that we can push back, because martial law and a lot of this stuff cannot happen without at least some cooperation and some coordination with your local sheriffs. Now, across the 50 states, sheriffs are actually elected positions for the most part, but they're answering to the Democratic and Republican parties in each of those states. Thankfully, now there's a party that allows you to take controls locally without having to answer to those state and national boards. That's the We the People Party. So if you don't know who your local sheriff is and you're worried about this story, start doing some research on them. Start asking yourself, well, who are the good cops, in this town right now? Who are good people who are familiar with law enforcement? And maybe we should start caring about the sheriff races a little bit more. But overall, you laid it out perfectly. What we do abroad eventually comes back home, and our police department's already militarized. All the equipment that we send overseas that gets a little bit old, they bring it back, they give it to our police departments, and then they get trained by the IDF. So I mean, where is this going?
Yeah, and there, we don't have to be big detectives here to do this investigation and say, what did they mean or what are they not? They're saying it out loud. Like this is the latest tweet from the war secretary himself, telling us about the latest murder that they did, boasting about it. Yesterday, the direction of President Trump, Department of War carried out 3 lethal kinetic strikes on 4 vessels operated by the designated terrorist organization trafficking narcotics in the Eastern Pacific, because they said so, right? The 4 vessels were known by our intelligence apparatus, transitioning along known narco trafficking routes and carrying narcotics, because, again, they tell us so. And he says at the end of this tweet, the department has spent over 2 decades defending other homelands. He's referring to the Middle East as, homelands, right? Now we're defending our own. These narco terrorists have killed more Americans than Al-Qaeda, and they will be treated the same. We will track them, we will network them, and then we will hunt and kill them. So the way we treat terrorists, the way we treat the cartel, the way we treat whatever we want to label people out there is exactly how we treat people here, because we can label them whatever we feel like we want to, with no proof, no due process. We just say they're bad guys and then we can kill them. And if you guys don't understand that Trump is saying this out loud, and he's not independently evil, he's representing the machine, the war machine that has been in existence well before he ever ran for president. This is him telling us that he's ready to kill, because it's not a declaration of war. It just means we can kill when we want. He's telling us.
I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. Okay?
So it doesn't take
Yeah, just think about it, guys. He's saying we don't need due process if I say that they're drug dealers. All that you need to know is that I say that. So if they're doing that abroad, and we're seeing that everything they do abroad, they eventually bring back over here. Just think about it, guys. Think about it. All like Antifa is the most loosely defined organization you can imagine. Like, it literally just means anti-fascism. If you are against and what fascism is the merger of corporations and government to benefit the corporations and government. If you are against that, then you're considered a terrorist
You
now?
might be a terrorist,
Yeah.
Jay.
So I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on, guys. Like,
Yeah.
literally, we have no proof that all the people he's drone striked are involved in terrorism. The only proof we have is that there's a lot of TV shows with Latino drug dealers, and those guys are Latinos, and we say they're drug dealers. So you got to believe us on that. Like,
Yeah.
they can easily do the same thing here with the precedent that is being set.
Yeah. And again, you mentioned earlier, so it's not just this aggressive assault happening in Venezuela and you know the assault on the cities with you know the ICE raids and the immigration that we're creating this problem and the cartel problem and we're making up fentanyl. It's not just that. You mentioned Ukraine, you mentioned Israel, Gaza. This president, this administration is failing so miserably, but I think saying failing is giving it too much credit, as in it tried and failed versus this is the plan. And if you guys still are holding on to the idea that Ukraine is winding down, and I mean, this is right now, this is 100,000 young men have fled Ukraine in 2 months. This is happening now. Why are they fleeing? Because they're desperate to escape the fate of hundreds of thousands of other Ukrainian men who were sent to their deaths in the failed proxy war against Russia, which I will add, Trump ran to stop this and to end it, which he hasn't. Ukraine faces demographic collapse, and Zelensky, egged on by the European states, continues to ignore reality as more land is lost, more men continue to die, and more men continue to leave the country.
I should have sent you the screenshot, but I'm even seeing France now is seriously considering sending troops to the front line to make up for that force that Ukraine is leaving. And if France does it, there's absolutely no way that the UK sits by and doesn't also send some people too. And if both of those NATO members are in there, even though a headline came out over the past few days about Trump moving some troops away from Eastern Europe, there's no way that we let them fight Russia alone. Because guess what, guys? They cannot do it. Like, there's no way that Europe can even make a dent in Russia unless America is right there backing them up. And we're all part of NATO for exactly this reason. Like, America does not want Russia to be free of the conflict in Ukraine, because if they are, they can provide more support to Iran, and they can provide more support to China if anything does actually go down with Taiwan. So the strategy is to keep Russia bogged down. That's what they want. And it's unfortunate because not only are so many people dying, like they have hypersonic missiles, guys, and now they're talking about arming Venezuela with these hypersonic missiles that we cannot shoot down so they can defend themselves. So the more we poke Russia, the more they're going to be, incentivized to make us feel it over here too. Like this can't go on forever, guys. And Trump is not coming any closer, like, to a negotiation. All he does is he calls these big meetings so he can come up with announcements. Yeah, just made peace. Me and Putin met. We agreed. And people see the headlines, but they don't see the follow-up, and they don't read what happens after that. And the follow-up is we're not any closer to peace, and we've completely lost their confidence as a negotiating partner. Russia, there was some hope that Trump could mend the relationship now, but because of the way Trump has handled it, I don't think the Russians would even take it like something from us seriously, because we've gone back on everything that we've agreed to. So, and clearly we see what the other side says. Biden isn't trying to make peace. The Democrats aren't trying to make peace. It's not like we've had a wave of Democrats come out recently and say, hey, maybe we did kind of get that thing wrong, and maybe we should stop arming the Nazis in Ukraine that we've been training for the past couple decades, just like how we trained the Taliban and all of our other enemies around the globe. I mean, like, clearly what's going to happen is Ukraine's going to lose eventually. And when they lose, all the Nazis we've trained in Ukraine will filter throughout the rest of Europe, probably will bring a lot more of them to America. And now we're going to have armed Nazis like all over the West because of all these weapons we've given them. So that's where this is going, guys. Ukraine's going to lose. It's just a question of time and how much we get involved in that process. And then the Nazis we've armed are going to take their ideology and spread it all over the West.
Well, Jay, listen, if I voted for Trump and everything you're saying is true, I'm really upset right now. I'm really depressed. But there's one thing we do have to show you that he got right, and that is the ceasefire deal in Israel has been accomplished, and he really stuck it to Netanyahu. Oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Netanyahu orders immediate and powerful attacks on Gaza. Over 100 killed. Airstrikes overnight across Palestine territory killed 104 people, including 46 children, according to local health officials. So this is not really sticking it to Netanyahu either.
It looks like just mowing the lawn, Matt. You know, sometimes you got to go in and kill a few people to show them you mean business. That's the Israeli strategy. Their strategy is, you know, if Palestinians get too comfortable, we got to go in and kill some of them. And we call it mowing the lawn because we got to keep them right where we want them. And that's their strategy. So, I mean, I never expected the ceasefire to hold. I know some Trump supporters thought that it was going to hold, but the plan is the Greater Israel Project. And the only way that plan happens is if we back them up. Now, do I expect that to happen? No, but the Israelis have that in their heads right now. And that's what they're going forward with at the moment. So,
and a reminder, guys, what we do over there, our foreign policy is our domestic policy. And that's why
there's a delay. There's a couple of years in between, but then eventually it comes back.
We can see ahead in the future how we treat other people overseas is how we get treated here. That whatever it is, the surveillance state, the war on terror, you know, get them over there so they don't get them here. Except we're all in a supercomputer now, right? We're all being censored now, right? We're all having ICE raids and having military deployment. And now, according to this new article that we started this segment with, 50 states all are going to have deployment to keep an eye on, what did he say? Civil unrest. Imagine that we'd have any civil unrest after everything we've done in this first year of this second term of this war president. That should do it for World War III Watch. Let's face it, it already started.